Linnea's final kit is here. And yeah, she's looking like another broken support. So let's break everything down, starting with her kit. Linnea is a 5-star limited Geo bow character. Her main role is buffing Geo teams, especially anything built around the Lunar Crystallize reaction. Her normal attacks are pretty standard, and her entire kit revolves around her elemental skill. Her skill has 2 uses, a single tap and repeated taps, and the key difference is that it changes her form. When you tap, she enters Super Awesome form. In this state, she deals off-field Geo damage, and when Mooncage is nearby, Lumi will additionally deal AoE Geo damage that is considered Lunar Crystallized reaction damage. So yes, she's doing off-field Geo, but in a proper Lunar Crystallize setup, she also adds extra Lunar Crystallize damage on top. Now, here's the simple way to think about it. If you single tap the skill, you deal Geo damage over time, and you also deal Lunar Crystallize damage over time. But if you tap multiple times, you deal a big Lunar Crystallize hit at the start, and then she swaps into a mode where she deals normal off-field Geo damage afterward. So, Super Awesome form equals off-field Geo plus Geo-based Lunar Crystallize damage. Ultimate Awesome form equals big Lunar Crystallize hit first, then switches to a normal mode that deals Geo damage over time. I hope that makes it clear. We'll talk about which form you should use where in the team section. Now her Elemental Burst. She provides healing for the active character and also deals Geo damage. If you use her burst when her skill is not active, it will deal Lunar Crystallize damage because it activates her Super Awesome form. But if her skill is already active, then her burst damage depends on the form you chose. Now let's talk about her passive. This is where she becomes a real buffer. Her first passive provides up to 30% Geo resistance shred when you activate her skill or burst. And she also provides additional elemental mastery for the active character, scaling at 5% of her total defense. So, if you give her around 2,000 defense, she can provide 100 elemental mastery to the DPS. Keep in mind this is only for the on-field DPS, unlike Sucrose who can share elemental mastery to the entire team. Realistically, with a Defense Sands and Defense Goblet plus substats, you'll probably land around 2,200 to 2,600 defense, which means roughly 120 to 150 elemental mastery for your main DPS. And that's honestly not that crazy, because a fully built Sucrose can give around 250 elemental mastery to the entire team, so the EM buff is not her main selling point. So, overall, Linnea is an off-field Geo damage dealer who provides 30% Geo resistance shred, around 120 elemental mastery for your DPS, 14% Lunar Crystallize base damage, similar to Zebai, which is another big buff, and healing. Very similar to Escoffier, but Geo. Now her build. We don't have final multipliers yet, so we can't judge her personal damage, but her kit clearly looks designed to do real damage, especially since she ascends with crit rate. Her best build is looking like Defense Sands, Defense Goblet, and then a crit circlet. And if you're pre-farming weapons, she actually looks very F2P friendly because she scales with defense, so base attack doesn't matter much. Her best F2P option looks like Slingshot because it gives 31% crit rate. You also don't want to over-focus energy recharge because her burst is mainly for healing. That's why weapons like Favonius or Sacrificial aren't really the best here. Other 4-star options like Cloudforged and the Stringless also look like solid picks. Now her signature weapon. Since she already has a strong F2P option, it might look like an easy skip. But trust me, they made it insanely broken specifically so you don't skip it. Her weapon provides 88% crit damage and defense from the substat, which also helps her elemental mastery buff. It also provides 40% more Geo and Lunar Crystallize damage for Linnea, and an additional 20% Lunar Crystallize damage for the entire team. And that's massive, because Lunar Crystallize has basically no internal cooldown, and in teams like Linnea, Zebai, Iluga, and Columbina, you will be triggering Lunar Crystallize non-stop. So that 20% team-wide Lunar Crystallize bonus is buffing everything. And that brings us to the next point. Lunar Crystallize has no internal cooldown, so you can trigger as many Lunar Crystallize reactions as your application allows. Unlike Melt or Vaporize, which technically has no internal cooldown, but in practice you're still limited by how often you can trigger it. Linnea's Geo application is what pushes this reaction even harder. For people who don't know, every 3 times you trigger Hydro Crystallize when you have Zebai, Columbina, and now Linnea in your team, the shard around you hits the enemy with a Lunar Crystallize strike. And now, with Linnea's Geo application, the speed of Hydro Crystallize triggers looks like it will increase by a lot, leading to way higher damage. And that's the real reason why Linnea being an off-field Geo unit matters so much. Before talking about her teams, if you're already broke and don't have any savings for Linnea, make sure to check out Loot Bar. They're offering some insane discounts. It's way cheaper, fully safe, and one of the few authorized third-party sellers. Just use my link, enter your UID and server, and your top-up should arrive within minutes. Now that we've looked at her kit and build, let's talk about her teams. Obviously, her best-in-slot team will be with Zebai, replacing Goru from the current best-in-slot Zebai teams. As I said, I don't want to go very deep into calculations right now, because this is just week 1, and many numbers will change during the upcoming beta updates. We'll cover everything once we reach the final version. But currently, for Zebai, Linnea is looking like roughly a 10k DPS increase. We still don't have all the final multipliers, but her weapon is just cracked, around the same value tier as Anefa's weapon. You can technically see her, with her signature weapon, as slightly better than Iluga at C6, at least based on current estimates. And she is not locked to Zebai. She's similar to Lauma or Anefa, who are so strong by themselves that they can pair with older DPS units and still make those teams clear content comfortably. You can play Linnea with Navia, with Columbina and Zhongli, or in an Itto team. You can also run her as a sub-DPS in other compositions alongside Columbina. Since she also triggers Lunar Crystallize, you can use her as a Lunar Crystallized enabler for older teams while she deals a ton of off-field damage at the same time. If I had to rank team pairings, I'd say any support that already works well with Zebai, like Zhongli or Chiori, can be paired with her in a strong duo setup. You could also build teams around Durin, Albedo, or even a Hydro carry team like Neuvillette, Columbina, Linnea, plus a flexible 4th slot. Being a support makes her not only viable for Geo teams, but also very strong in Hydro DPS teams like Ayato or Neuvillette. That flexibility is what pushes her value so high. We'll make a dedicated team guide once all her final multipliers are confirmed. Now talking about her pull value, she is going to be the best in-slot option for almost every Geo DPS in the game. Just like Lauma is best in slot for most Dendro DPS units, Linnea will do the same job for Geo. And on top of that, she can function as a pure sub-DPS in Hydro teams as well. That places her pull value in the same tier as the other Lunar supports in the game. I hope this video gave you some clarity. And don't forget, we are running a 12k subscriber special giveaway, so make sure to join. More information is in the description. Till then.